Welcome to the National African American Child and Family Research Center Community Engaged Research Conference. Yes. Welcome to our online attendees as well. I am Dr. Latrice Rollins, and I serve as the director of the center. I am also honored to serve as a principal investigator. Our mission is to provide national leadership and excellence in community engaged research to better serve African American families. So we are thrilled that you are here with us in person and online. We are thrilled that you are here to learn and share more about the ways that we can research together to create equitable programs and policies. So this is going to be a research conference like none other. Please welcome Dr. Coleman.
Greetings, everyone. It is so wonderful to see all of you here this morning. I just want to give you a quick welcome on behalf of the Administration for Children and Families and the Office of Planning, Research, and Evaluation in particular. We are so excited to be sharing this space with you today. We took a peek at the agenda, and I'm sure if you all have seen it, you can definitely tell that the center has curated a pretty amazing group of presentations and sessions and has just gathered here a number of exceptional researchers, practitioners, folks who are in policy and programmatic areas. And we're just really, really excited about the conversations that will happen today. I think throughout history, spaces like this that focus on Black families, individuals, communities that seek to uplift our strengths, that seek to address the issues that impact our communities are just so pivotal and important. And so thank you all for coming to be a part of the conversations and discussions today.
Well, good morning again to all of you. And I'm going to stop for just a minute because, you know, when I say good morning, I do expect a little bit of a response back. So good morning to all of you. All right, that's much better. So on behalf of the Morehouse School of Medicine and in particular the Department of Community Health and Preventive Medicine, I want to welcome you. My name is Alex Crosby. I serve as the vice chair in the department, and also on behalf of our chair, Dr. Tabia Henry Akintobi, who's traveling today, so was not able to make it. I do want to welcome you. I know for some of you, especially those of you who are around Atlanta, you know the water issue, so you guys have made it despite all of that. So thank you for pressing your way and making it here. Those of you who are online, welcome to all of you. I definitely want to offer congratulations for all of those that have helped put together this conference, as well as the other activities that this research center has been putting on. And I know that while I congratulate Dr. Rollins on leadership in terms of putting this together, I know that she doesn't do it by herself. So there are a number of you that I know are supporting her and are putting this together. And I'm looking forward to hearing some of the information, some of the wisdom, some of the perspectives that are going to be brought forth today, but also want to kind of emphasize, you know, some of the mission of what the center is about and some of the importance that bringing the perspective of those who are part of that community to the research that's done for that community. And as many of you have heard, you know, nothing about us without us. So that is part of what the center brings to the issue of looking at children and family issues, especially African-American families. So congratulations again to those of you as you put on this conference, and especially to Dr. Rollins and her leadership of this. So thank you very much and welcome to the conference.
All right. From the time we are given our baby's fuzzy ultrasound picture, we have clear dreams and aspirations for them. Besides the children themselves, parents have the best perspective on what's needed for their children to be affirmed as Black geniuses and thrive, including in educational settings. My biggest flex, besides leading this center, is having both children getting their undergraduate education at HBCUs. Our morning keynote speaker understands parent power and equips Black parents in his community to be impactful researchers and advocates for their children. He is a father, he is a husband, he is a fellow cultural health leader, and he is the chief dreamer of Village of Wisdom in Durham, North Carolina. Please let's welcome Dr. William P. Jackson.
For the people. I'm also a son of Atlanta. Was born in Piedmont Hospital. My mom taught at Cleveland Avenue Elementary School, right down the street right here. And I spent some good years teaching at Carver Early College. So it's good to be home. It's good to be with my people. It's good to be in a place that birthed me. In the spirit of how my parents raised me, I want to start off this conversation with, well, in the spirit of how they raised me to believe that all scientists were Black, and therefore all researchers were Black. I want to start off this conversation with a few affirmations. In 11,000 AD, Sankore University came to prominence in present-day Mali, in the city of Timbuktu. The university had several independent colleges, subjects including the Quran, Islamic studies, law, literature, medicine, and surgery, astronomy, mathematics, physics, chemistry, philosophy, language and linguistics, geography, history, and art. At its peak, the university had more than 2,500 people studying there. Timbuktu was led by hundreds of influential scholars like zoologist Al-Jahiz, providing some of the earliest writings about ecosystems and the interdependencies of animals. And even before the legendary Timbuktu in the ancient times all across the continent of Africa, our people figured out the 12-month calendar, how to cauterize wounds, discovered aspirin, vaccinations, filling cavities, created our own sophisticated and accurate number systems, have formulas for much of the geometry that Greeks are often given credit for. What I'm saying is, y'all, is that science and research, the pursuit of generating knowledge, has and always been an endeavor that Black folks have excelled at. And so I want to affirm y'all. I want to affirm your genius. I want to affirm your knowledge, the intellect that you're bringing to this space. And I want to affirm the way that we do things. Because like most things that we do, we like to bring our creator into our work. We like to bring our community in our work. And I think that that was something that folks couldn't understand. Or maybe they were scared of it, or maybe they were fearful of it. And I think that's part of the reason why they ripped us out of the history books. And in that ripping of our intellectual pursuits and our intellectual advancements and our contributions from the history books, I think they also ripped the soul out of science. And so what I've come here to talk to you all today about is how do we put the soul back? How do we make science soulful again? How do we make knowledge generation soulful? So I think there's 3 factors. I got about 11 minutes. We'll see how this goes, y'all. The first is imagination. Y'all are gonna see a whole lot of research presentations today. People are gonna talk about methods and skills and all that other stuff. I'm not gonna hit that today. I'm really trying to get at process and what is important in the process and what are the values that are driving our research. And so when I ask this question or I present this idea of imagination, I want you to think to yourself, is your research rigorous enough to live up to the dreams of Black families? Does your research capture and communicate the dreams of Black families? When you submit it to that journal, is it living up to their dreams? When you're serving on that peer review committee, are you asking yourself, does this research live up to the dreams of the people that are supposed to be serving? And if not, then what are we doing? To respond to these questions, the organization that I lead, Village of Wisdom, focuses on how we create spaces to cultivate and protect Black genius. And so you might be asking yourself the question, what is Black genius? I believe Black genius is the ability to create new realities governed by equity, justice, and love. I'll say that one more time. Black genius is the ability to create new realities governed by equity, justice, and love. I hear somebody asking, why is the ability to create new realities important, and what does that require? I thought this was an important question too. So in preparation for this moment, I pursued a Sankofa conversation. A Sankofa conversation, maybe somebody already came up with this, but I thought about it as I was writing this speech. And it's basically a conversation with previous selves. And I mean the diaspora in history, in all of the knowledge and the ancestors and the words that are out there. And so I heard Dr. King saying, this hour in history needs a dedicated circle of transformed nonconformists. Our planet teeters on the brink of annihilation. Dangerous passions of pride, hatred, and selfishness are enthroned in our lives, and men and women do reverence before false gods of nationalism and materialism. The saving of our world from pending doom will come not through the complacent adjustment of the conforming majority, but through the creative maladjustment of a non-conforming minority. Will you be a part of the non-conforming minority? Will you be a maladjusted creative? Sister Bell Hooks said, imagination is one of the most powerful modes of resistance that oppressed and exploited folks can do and use. And foremost scholar on the power and the history of Black radical imagination, Robin M. Kelly, said, without new visions, we don't know what to build and only what to knock down. We not only end up confused, rudderless, and cynical, but we forget that making a revolution is not a series of clever maneuvers and tactics, but a process that can and must transform us. So in the early days of the pandemic, when Village of Wisdom's, I would say, community-driven research really started to take off, I asked myself a question. Don't we got enough damn needs assessments? Do we really need another one? What might our community actually benefit from? And somehow, some way, the idea that we should be doing dreams assessments came to me. What would it look like to ask our community, what are your dreams for education? What if we ask the teachers of Black children, what dreams do you have for them? What if we ask Black children themselves, what dreams do you have for yourself? And my favorite, what if we ask Black parents, what are your dreams for these children? And so we put Black parents, Black mamas specifically, in positions to ask these questions to their community. And because it was a pandemic, we asked them about what would online learning look like? And specifically, what would online culturally affirming learning look like? And I remember that beautiful moment after like 6, probably almost 12 months of preparation. And we were in the Zoom room, and it was 3 Black mamas in there, and it was probably 3 or 4 teachers on the line. And they started to ask them, what are the dreams that you have for my children? And what I thought was particularly beautiful about that is that when you think about the common conversations that Black parents find themselves in schools, they are usually being talked to, and usually being talked down to. But in that moment, we had leveraged research to put parents in a powerful position to ask teachers, what are the dreams that you have for my children? And we also engaged the whole community in a conversation about imagining a new reality. And so when I talk about imagination is necessary to put the soul back into science, I think we do have to think about how are we feeding our imagination, and what type of imagination are we allowing to lead us? because an exploitative imagination will create an exploitative world. A restrictive imagination will create a restrictive world. A punitive imagination will create a punitive world. And so, because I see I got 5 minutes, I'll hasten on and not get through all of this. But I'll ask y'all a question. If imagination is largely fed by our dreams, then what kind of dreams do tired people dream? Do we want tired dreams driving our research? And better question, are tired dreams driving our research? I'd argue most of the time, yes. And so then the question becomes, how do we get out of that? How do we find more rested dreams? I found myself in another Sankofa conversation, this time with one of our staff members, Taylor Mary Weber Fields. And I remember as we were preparing for the dreams assessment, she would consistently say, Will, we need more spaciousness. And she was asking for time, more space in between moments, more space in the parents training for the research. We can't rush into this, Will, because when we rush, we get tired. And when we get tired, we have tired dreams. So thank you, Taylor Mary. I also heard Tricia Hershey saying, rest makes invention and imagination accessible. Rest gives us the ability to test our freedom. Our souls are calling to see differently, to move differently, to feel differently, to rest. Rest as a subversive act is the deepest act of resistance. I'm not really trying to be involved in any research that isn't resisting what we currently got going on in this country or this world. And I hope neither of you all are either. And so when we think about rest, it brings me to my second point, which is that love is one of the few characteristics, if imbued into research, that would allow for and justify rest. So if we want to bring the soul back to science, not only do we have to bring imagination back, we also have to bring love back to science. And love would allow us to pay people to rest as we train them to do research. And you might ask yourself, well, why would you pay people to rest? Are you tired? Right now, ask yourself, are you tired? Are you resting enough? And so when you think about the parents and the families that you serve and the conditions that they typically are being served through and why they're being served, ask yourself, do you think that they're tired? Are they getting enough sleep? Did they have enough time to bring their best dreams to this community-based research process that you've just involved them in? Are they giving you ideas from a rested place? Because while I agree with what Brian Stevenson has said, that proximity is essential and that those people closest to the problems deliver the best solutions, I also think they need time to dream up the dreams of the said best solutions. And so proximity alone is not enough. We need love to give people time to rest so that they can imagine a whole new world. And so my third point is about community and the power of community and the power of community to help us create the world that we need to create. And so after the dream assessment, we came up with this idea of a dream ship. And the dream ship really was our love letter to the Black parents who have been working with us for the past 8 to 9 years. And the dream ship was a space where we created not only training to do research, but we also paid parents to rest. So I'm not up here asking y'all to do something that we weren't trying ourselves. And what we have noticed in this first year of doing the dream ship is parents reflecting on how their ideas have changed, how their ideas have expanded, and how their insights have increased. And so I think we have, as a community, have to think about not only how are we engaging communities in research, but how are we putting them in loving situations so that they can create loving outcomes. They can create loving suggestions. They can create loving recommendations. And finally, I'll just say a brief moment, because I'm about at my time, about the Department of Education grant that we recently got. It leverages the Dreamship experience after 2 years of rest and learning with parents to put them in a research process where they will be evaluating teachers' instruction. And in that particular position, parents will have already used our Black Genius framework that was created by the parents before them to evaluate whether or not those teachers are actually delivering a culturally affirming instruction. And that culturally affirming instruction will then be evaluated by students who will be using the psychometrically validated survey that's based on our Black Genius framework. And then the teachers will use a rubric that is created by that particular framework to see if the instruction is actually happening live and in person. And then the lessons that come from those teachers that are delivering the Black Genius framework will then be converted into strategies that will be useful to teachers on social media. And then the teachers who actually successfully go through the program will be validated by Black parents. Not tired Black parents, but loved on Black parents, rested Black parents, parents that believe that new realities based in justice, equity, and love are the most important things that we can create. And so I ask y'all again this morning, are you engaging in soulful science? Are you bringing imagination, love, and the power of the people to bear to create the realities that our young people deserve to live in the future?
Thank you so much, Dr. Jackson, for those insightful questions. I know we're all pondering and making sure that we are doing things in equity, justice, and love. Now I'm going to introduce our moderator for our Parent Power panel, Dr. Nina Smith. She is an Associate Dean of the College of Health and Sciences at North Carolina Central, and she's also a co-investigator at the National African American Child and Family Research Center, leading our research with rural communities. She also graduated from the #1 HBCU in the nation. Let's welcome my Spelman sister, Dr. Nina Smith.
Good morning. Thank you so much for the introduction, Dr. Rollins, and thank you, Dr. Jackson, for the amazing keynote. Can we give him another round of applause? Thank you for the reminder to give justice to the imagination and dreams of Black children and their parents. And so this panel will do just that. We will learn how to amplify the important voices of parents. We will have 3 presentations, or 3 blocks of presentations, and each presenter or group will have roughly 15 minutes. And at the end of all of the presentations, we will open things up for question and answer. We will have mics at the ends of the aisles, and we will do our best to accommodate our virtual attendees as well. So our first group of presenters, I believe, are Tanya, Christian, and Kissie. And then we'll follow that up with Bridget and Ebony, and Fatima and Sando. Hopefully I got that right. If I missed anyone or got the groups wrong, please charge it to my head and not my heart. So without further ado, please help me welcome our first group of presenters.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Tanya Thomas, and I am bringing you greetings from South Georgia. We are representing Head Start and Early Head Start, and we're coming all the way from Coastal Plain Area EOA in Valdosta, Georgia. And it is, when we're asked to present, it's very hard because Head Start is research-based. And to cut the slides down to about 15 slides was hard for us because it's just a lot. And then just to even mention what we have going on at Coastal Plain is just a lot itself. But we have here, I brought with me a true testimony of what Head Start and Early Head Start is all about. As we begin our slide, hold on. And I say, good morning again. I want to give a brief introduction of who I am, but I'll go ahead and get started. I'm Dr. Tanya Thomas. I'm the Executive Director and the Head Start Director. Call me crazy, of Coastal Plain Area EOA. We are located in 10 counties. We serve over 5,000 square miles of community in South Georgia. We have 650 children and families that we serve, which I do want to add that we are one of 31 Head Starts and Early Head Starts that are listed in the state of Georgia. Myself, I have over 36 years of experience and over 20 years of experience there at Coastal Plain. I am Head Start. I was a teenage mom, and I had a beginning. When I first started, I had my oldest son went through Head Start, and I was, at that point, just graduated with my associates. Working with Head Start encouraged me not only to pursue a career in Head Start, but also to continue to get my bachelor's, my master's, and also my doctoral degree. So I am living proof of Head Start. And I also want to introduce the administrative assistant, Kissie Hunt, and give her a brief she would provide you all a brief introduction.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Kissie Hunt. I am the Executive Administrative Assistant at Coastal Plain. I would like to say I am a former Head Start parent as well of 3 beautiful children, my oldest being 21, my second oldest being 19, and my youngest being 11 years of age. Just to give you a little background on my education, I am a certified medical assistant. I am a licensed cosmetology, and I will be going back to school in August to finish my education in psychology.
And we will not be remiss. The reason why we're here and why Head Start function and work is a parent that we have.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Christian Slacks. Like Dr. Thomas said, I'm one of the parents, one of the many parents at Head Start. I started my education. I do have an associate's in health science and also a bachelor of science in health and human performance, where I was an honor grad from the best HBCU in Georgia, Albany State. Head Start did play a role in this. We have our family health advocates that did sit down with each parent, and I mean each and every parent, and set goals with them. They did check-ins to make sure the parents were achieving those goals, and if those goals needed amending, they were willing to do that as well.
Okay, and thank you. And you had your child enrolled with us for.
And I also had a child enrolled in Head Start. He's 5 now. So I've been with Head Start for 2 years, and we're not like traditional school programs where the child is enrolled in school. You know, you meet your teachers, the administration, go through your school year, and then that's it. No, our parents are able to stick around, and we do have the ability to serve on policy councils and also the board of directors.
So we believe in instilling our parents, and it doesn't start there. It's a continual pattern.
Yes.
Want to talk about our topic. We have a catchy topic there. And as near and dear to my heart, Head Start work is hard work.
Yes.
And that's exactly what it is. It builds our hearts. Just a little bit about us. Wanna first start. We first start when we talk about the history and the foundation. I'm gonna come back to that slide again. Want to tell you all a little bit of background. Head Start started in 1965 with Lyndon B. Johnson signing on with the War on Poverty. with the war on poverty. It was developed for disadvantaged children and families. And I want to tell you a little bit about see if I can go back, give you a little bit of fun fact, some information about the logo. Does anybody know anything about the logo of Head Start? I want to tell you that the two squares that it represents the early childhood building blocks. A lot of people see our logo and don't really know the background of it. The arrangement of the blocks, do you see how they're arranged? That represents the stairs that lead to success. The vertical stripes that you see, they represent the child and the parent. The arrow that's pointing upward, it represents moving out of poverty towards the future. And then the colors, red, white, and blue, represents the United States and the opportunities that are offered. So a lot of people, when they see the Head Start block, they really don't understand exactly the history behind the blocks. And of course, as Lyndon B. Johnson signed the War on Poverty, it became the program Head Start. Just a little bit additional facts about Head Start. We serve 10% children of disabilities who have either physical or emotional disabilities. We also serve children in foster care. We also serve children of homelessness also. We link our families to medical homes and also to dental homes. We support our families in their involvement within Head Start. We also are research-based. We use research-based curriculums and also parent research-based curriculums. And we also provide not only emotional support, mental health support, financial support, and educational support to our families. We've hired over 40% of our parents back into our program. So we believe in putting our families back into our programs because they are our best teachers. So I want to give you a little bit more information. And now I'm going to pass it on to Ms. Hunt, and she's going to give you some more additional information.
Okay, I just want to give you some whys as to why family well-being and Head Start is important. Family well-being occurs when all family members are safe, healthy, and have chances for educational advancements and economic mobility. Support services such as early care and education, housing and food assistance, physical and mental health care positively contribute to the well-being of our families and children that we serve. When families face challenges that causes stress, including poverty and homelessness, their health and wellness can be negatively impacted. Engaging families as active participants in problem solving and goal settings can help them identify and use their own strengths to address the challenges they face. When families are healthy, safe, economically stable, their children's health and well-being can thrive. Now I'm going to pass it over to Ms. Slacks to give you a little bit of information about our training to parents.
So Head Start, we do offer a lot of training for our parents. One of the things that we do offer is the Policy Council, where we do vote in parents to serve on this board. Head Start is a parent-led program, so these parents do have the ability to help make decisions on where the money is spent, on activities for our children. We do offer a lot of parent involvement as well. For a lot of children, Head Start, this is the first opportunity for them to be in some type of classroom setting. And with that, you know, the parents, this is also their first time as well. So it's important to increase parent involvement. In the Policy Council, we do that by approving events such as Cookies with Moms, readathons with dads, which that's a big thing because, as you know, in a lot of low-income families, especially African-American families, most of the homes are single-family homes where the mother is the sole provider, the sole parent that is mostly involved. So we like to increase that father involvement as well as grandparents because we are aware that a lot of children are being taken care of by their grandparents. We also offer governance training. This will help provide the parents with the proper training and background to be able to make good decisions on being able to provide those different aspects for the children. We don't want to just approve things just because it's right there in front of us and not understand what we're actually approving. We're also offered financial training, not only for the policy council, but for our parents as well that may not have the desire to serve on the policy council. This can be through being able to better budget their money, knowing the different housing options and resources that may be in their community. We offer educational opportunities. I know personally in the county that I reside in, we did bring in a representative from Wiregrass. And she came in and talked to her parents about being able to go back and get their GED free of cost. She talked about the different programs that they offer for free, that's covered through HOPE for our parents that have the desire to further their education or pick up a trade or a technical certificate. And I just want to circle back to even with myself, being an African American, we have a lot of cards stacked against us coming out the door. A lot of us, just being women, being African American, coming from a home that may not have been very conducive for us, being a single parent. Even myself, I have that card stacked against me, but with Head Start, they help to push and give support for that. Even now, I'm back in school at Emory University as a nursing student. And it can be very challenging, sometimes I kind of want to give up. And, even now, Ms. Hunt, Dr. Thomas, our other administration, they help to push and guide me. Even at the Head Start Center my son was at, I have support from there as well. So it never ends. And that's the great thing about Head Start. You start and you never stop.
Okay, I would like to talk about our parent, family, and community engagement framework. This is also known as the PFCE. Just want to give you a little bit of information about it, and then I'll tell you how the chains link. This is a roadmap for progress in achieving the kinds of outcome that lead to positive and enduring change for children and families. It is a research-based approach to the program that shows how an agency can work together as a whole across systems and service areas to promote parents and family engagement and children's learning and development. If this framework is executed well, it leads way to positive and goal-oriented relationships. If the program foundation is set, that's the first and foremost foundation. As I said, this is like a puzzle and it is like putting a chain together. So if we have the program foundation set, which is our management, our leadership team, providing professional development as well as continuous learning and quality improvement for our management team. If the foundation is set and is firm and it is molded correctly, it will make way for our program impact areas to be successful. We will be able to link with our collaborating partners. We will be able to build those family partnerships. We will have access and continuity. So once you have that foundation, it makes the program impact areas linked together. After that, moving on to the family outcomes. If you have the first two set, the family outcomes fall into place. You have the family well-being, you have positive parent-child relationships, and yes, positive family-child relationships. So if the family outcomes are together, the child outcomes will be together. You will have health and wellness of the children as well as safety. So if all those things are done correctly, you will have a solid foundation throughout.
Told you all we had too much going on. But just wanted to give you a briefing about, this is one of our fathers. He's going to tell you a little bit about father engagement, about our parent engagement and how we engage with our parents. He's gonna have just to give you a little snip, and we got to keep it rolling just a little bit. But he just wanted to give you just some information. He's a single father, and he's getting up every morning, getting his child ready for school in the morning.
Pins, biting kids' lips, You know what I'm saying? It's like they were ready to throw my daughter out this year, man. The new staff and the care, the love. Oh my God, and Miss Davis. That's all I'm gonna say, Miss Davis. That lady there is the go. Like my daughter be so ready to go to school to see this lady. And you would think she is so mean, but she understands what needs to be for them kids to be.
This is a little bit about our fatherhood program.
Gonna transition into this.
We make sure that our fathers are actively involved. As you all know, fathers and father figures are very important to our self-esteem and self-confidence. So just want to. And we also offer groups for our women also.
And I would just like to tell you a little bit about our women's support group. The name of our group is Through Our Eyes. And if you don't mind, I do want to read our mission and our vision, and it'll just tell you a little bit about who we are and where we're trying to go. Our mission is to allow each individual woman to tell their story through their own eyes, scars, flaws, and all. As a group of determined yet different in every way women, we educate, we empower, we strengthen, we encourage, we motivate, we build, we uplift, we protect, we serve, we care, we show love, we show kindness, we unite. And we stand in the gap for one another. We don't make excuses for our shortcomings, yet we acknowledge them and change them. We don't do this alone, but with support from one another, we can grow, change, develop, and become better than we were for ourselves and the people around us. Our vision is to be a driving force that will bring about a change in women all over the world. And we don't just focus on our staff, but we also focus on our parents as well as the women in the communities that we serve.
I'm so sorry that we did, like I said, Head Start is just a lot that we have to encompass. But again, thank you for allowing us to share and to welcome you all into our world of the Head Start world and early Head Start. So now we can take. Thank you all.
And please like our Facebook page and scan the barcode so you can get more information on Coastal Plain. Thank you.
I forgot this note. So at the conclusion, all of our presenters will come and sit here, and then we will take questions. So we welcome our next group of presenters. Thank you so much.
Good morning. I'm Bridget Ratajczak, and I want to thank Dr. Rollins for inviting us to be here this morning. I'm with the Georgia Department of Early Care and Learning. I am the Child and Family Development Supervisor. And
good morning. I'm so glad to be here. I want to say thank you to Ms. Bridget and Dr. Rollins for inviting me on today. My name is Ebony Tolbert, and I am a DeKalb Family Ambassador.
get to our, there we are. So the Georgia Department of Early Care and Learning is a state agency here in Georgia. We're unique in that we're one of the only states that has an agency that's dedicated to early childhood. And by that, we mean that all of the services and supports related to early care and education in the state of Georgia are under the same roof in one agency. Or most of those services, actually. Most of our budget is with federal funds, though we do have state lottery funds that support our Georgia Pre-K program. Our mission is here, and I'm not going to read it to you, but I do want you all to note that that families are the first group of partners at the Georgia Department of Early Care and Learning. They're the first group that's listed because we know that they are the primary caregivers. They are the most important educators of the children. So at Georgia Pre-K, at DeKalb, we have a multitude of services and supports that we provide. We run the Georgia Pre-K program, which is probably what we're most noted for, which is a program that serves over 70,000 4-year-olds every year. And it's, as I said before, it's supported through the lottery funds, the Georgia Lottery. We also have the Child Care Services, which covers licensing and regulation of all child care programs in the state. Our quality rated program is the state quality rating and improvement system to help improve the quality of early care and learning across the state. Our CAPS program provides scholarships for low to no income families to help cover the cost of child care. Our nutrition, and y'all had to practice this a long time to get it right, provides the Child and Adult Care Food Program, or CACFP, and the summer school for summer food program, which is called Happy Helpings. We are the the location of the Head Start Collaboration Office. And then we also have a variety of other programs that support and to the improvement of quality and of early care and learning across the state, including our inclusion and behavior support program, our infant toddler program. We offer several different quality initiatives. We run the professional development system for the state for early care and learning, and we offer multiple mini grants to different programs and community partners for them to work with trying out different things and doing what works best for their communities. So the ways that we get input from families, we do a lot of focus groups. We partner with outside agencies and organizations a lot of times to help us conduct focus groups because we want to hear from people who have lived experiences with the issues, with the policies, and the programs that we need to learn more about. We need to hear from them to learn what their needs are. So we do that through focus groups. We also use surveys to get information from them, from families, and from other community partners. And then we have different helplines at the agency. We have one for CAPS, we have one for child care services, we have one for inclusion and behavior supports. And we collect data on those, the calls that we come in, and we analyze that data to find out what are the questions that are being asked, what are the issues that aren't being met, what are the resources that we need to provide to families. And we use that information. Some of the changes that we've made recently are, one is with our licensing reports. We're required federally to post our licensing reports, but they're very complex. There's over 400 rules that a child care program must follow. And when they have a licensing visit, the report is dense, to say the least. So what we did is we conducted focus groups to find out from families what are the things that are high priority to them when they're looking for child care. And based on that information, we created infographics on the website that shows where the child care program fell within that licensing report, within those different guidelines that were the highest priority for those families. It makes it much more user-friendly for families. We also use data to inform our CAPS priority groups, the families that can qualify for CAPS services, the most recent of which is now student parents, because we found out through different methods of listening that student parents really needed help with childcare in order to be able to continue their education. And finally, we offer different grants, and one of the grants that we're doing right now is to determine, it's grants to both child care programs and to community partners to try different methods and find out what's needed as far as alternative hour childcare. And so outside of the typical hours, the evenings, weekends, and longer day type of things for those who work 12-hour shifts, who work evenings, weekends, and things like that. So we have, I think it's about 12 different grants out right now, and they're collecting data on that. Whenever we offer any type of a grant, there's always an evaluation piece to it, and we always use that data to see what was that effective and what kind of information we can get from that. And then my pride and joy is our DeKalb Family Peer Ambassador program. Our Family Peer Ambassador program was developed as a part of the Preschool Development Grant and addresses the need for families to be more informed about resources and choices for their children. It was initially funded through the Preschool Development Grant, but we've now taken it on as part of our agency's Child Care Development Block funds. Our goal is to provide families across the state with information about resources that are available to them using a peer-to-peer method. Our ambassadors are caregivers of young children who have participated in childcare, Georgia pre-K, home visiting, or early intervention. They include fathers, mothers, grandmothers, foster parents, and kinship caregivers. We have physicians, lawyers, educators, locally elected officials, social workers, business people, and full-time caregivers. They're paid through stipends for their participation because we value their time and their expertise. As we've built the program, we've worked hard to get input from the ambassadors for continued improvement. Methods that we've used to collect that feedback have included interviews and surveys. Some of the changes that we made include providing them with an identity. They let me know very clearly that when they're going out to events in their communities to talk to people about their families, it's kind of creepy to not have something to identify them by. So they helped us create a logo, and they now have their own logo. We provided them with polo shirts and banners with their logo on them. So when they go out to the events in their communities, they feel like they are more legitimate. They also let us know that they wanted to meet in person. And so last year we had our first annual meeting. We had over 45 people came together in Macon, Georgia, and we spent a whole day together, and it was a very powerful experience. To say I had a lot of goosebumps and some tears was maybe an understatement. So here's just a little bit of statistics about our ambassadors. We started in the fall of 2019 with our first cohort. Since then, we've trained over 130 ambassadors across the state. Their training includes information about early child development, developmental monitoring through Learn the Signs Act Early from the CDC, the impact of quality care in early development, and the resources that are available to families in Georgia. We have 52 active ambassadors currently. 10 of them were just completed their training last month, I'm sorry. And since 2019, our ambassadors have attended over 500 events across the state and have connected with over 14,000 families. They also have been key participants in the different focus groups and surveys that I mentioned earlier. We created a core group of ambassadors from our first and second cohorts who are now leaders and help us with planning and mentoring the new ambassadors. And one of those amazing ladies is Miss Ebony Tolbert, who is now going to tell you all about her experience as a family peer ambassador.
Once again, I am a DeKalb family ambassador. My name is Ebony Tolbert. And okay. So I want to talk about how did I become a family peer ambassador? It all started with Spread the Word. It was a partnership with the Children's Museum of Atlanta and Rollins Center for Language and Literacy at the Atlanta Speech School. It worked to build a culture of language and literacy in the Vine City, English Avenue area, while working with families who had children ages birth to 5. I do live in the West End, and so this program, this is my son right here, my husband, this program pretty much made me want to spread the word. And so everything that I learned in this program, I took that and I was already speaking with people in the community. And in the end, I had additional training with my facilitator from the Atlanta Speech School, Ms. Crystal Grimes. Thank you, Ms. Crystal. And Ms. Crystal Grimes actually was the person who introduced me to the DeKalb Family Ambassador Program. So you'll see a lot of the programs that I did with my children, it led me to DeKalb. Learning Spaces is the second one. And so while I was doing the program with Spread the Word, I would also take my son to Learning Spaces. And Learning Spaces is a community-based strategy designed to meet the developmental needs of young children and support the families, friends, or neighbors who care for them. And so Learning Spaces is a space where I was at home with my child at the time. I would take him there. He would have a facilitator. It would give him time with other children. And I also became a family advocate for them, because I wanted other families to know about this program. You know, if you're at home with your kids, you have grandmas who are tired, who need that 2 hours of taking the baby out and giving that baby some time with other kids, and also, you know, just having someone else work with the child. And so this was another great program. Third, Strolling Thunder. This is actually a program that I've been doing with DeKalb. And so this is my daughter here. She started doing it when she was a baby. And so this program led me to the Capitol, where I did this for 3 years. This program, which I felt like I was already kind of an advocate, that kind of parent, this program gave me the right voice. So it trained me. And so like I learned how to actually talk to legislators. One being here was my daughter. And so it just made me want to just to do more. And I think all of these programs made me who I am today as a family ambassador. So I take everything that I learned, even from Spread the Word, where I was pushing literacy, pushing language, and I use that at my events. And so this is typically what my events would look like. I have my table, and any event that I have, parents just come up, they get my resources. This is me and some of the core ambassadors. Once again, Ms. Bridget mentioned that. We have additional training. We can facilitate community cafes. We are mentors to the other family parent ambassadors. Here, this is just another event. In the next few slides, you'll see just the different events because I want you to see like what we do in the community. And so here, this is another event. I do want to point out Miss Glenda Davis Canteen in the red shirt. We have regional directors, community directors who I can contact her if I need an event. Or if she knows of something, she'll contact me. And then I also attend her leadership meetings every month where I can listen in on directors of child care centers and just different things around Atlanta. And I take all of that and I use that when I'm out in the community, when I'm talking to other parents. And so here, more events. I do a lot of baby showers. So I do a lot of partnerships with the mayor group. They do baby showers. And then here I did a partnership with I Still Can, where the founder, she was a teen mom and she wanted an organization where she could tell other teen moms that they were going to be okay. And so these are just some of the events. I'm really big on going to events with pregnant women because I feel like if I catch them early, they'll have it. They'll have all the resources. They are prepared. And these are some of my annual events that I attend. A mayor group, Fathers Matter. I always go with Dr. Rollins. Thank you. Clarkston Tell Me a Story is actually coming up in September. This will be my 3rd year, I believe. And so with them, it's a totally different environment. You have a lot of refugees. You have, it gives me more experience. It gives me more knowledge. And then I take that back to Ms. Bridget and I ask her questions for things that I don't know. So all of these different partners, I'm always learning, always learning. Here, I wanted to point out my two resources for me being in the community around Atlanta. And so the most I get asked about is CAPS and Find Help because I deal with families. Some of my families are homeless. A lot of my families, the grandmas are coming out and they pretty much come to me and say, I need something for my daughter. I need her to find a job. I need help. And so I hear that quite often. And I wanted to think about that and see what we can do on the next slide I talk about here. So ending in my final thoughts for agencies seeking to engage parents in their work, we need guidance. They need assistance. They need support. We need to find ways. And I'm saying all this for those agencies that are looking to take on to add on parents to their organizations. I would say to implement these ideas. So you will find ways to stay in touch, follow-up calls, text messages, possible lunch meetings. They need the reassurance, they need the affirmation, and they need positive feedback. In my experience, some of the parents, they don't hear positive feedback at all in their day. And so a lot of times they just want to know if they're going to be okay. I get asked for my phone number all the time because they want somebody to guide them. They need somebody to lead them. You have some that have their moms there to help them, and then you have some that don't have any support. And so what I would love to see in that community is a team of people who can help, who can guide, who can mentor, including myself. I'm not just talking about the others. This is in regards to me too. I would love to see something where we can mentor, once again, where we can text, where we can call, and we can make sure they're actually using the resources that we are providing for them. And so that's it. Thank you all for having me today.
Thank you so much. We will now welcome our last block of presenters to the stage.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sando Zou-Capuzzi, and I'm a young parent leader with the Center for the Study of Social Policies. I am a resident here in Atlanta, Georgia. I have experience as a former foster youth, I guess, and so I got connected, yeah, my bad. My bad, everyone. But yes, I got connected with CSSP when I was actually doing an apprenticeship program, Infotech apprenticeship program. And they, they saw that I was a young parent and I had a lot of passion for, what I was trying to do for my daughter and accomplish things for her. So they got me connected to this work. And I am also a graduate. I just graduated like this past May 4th with my associate's degree in cybersecurity. Thank you. Thank you. And being a young father, I recently started a nonprofit called What About Us? And this is to just help young fathers who have lived experience coming out of the foster care system, just to get them connected to like the plethora of resources out there. I know that, a lot of the times, a lot of the resources, they tend to be projected more for young mothers out there. But especially for young dads with foster care experience, we don't have a lot of those. So I'm trying to be like the liaison, be like the in-between man who can help, mentor young men and help them navigate to these resources and pursue them and get sustainability for themselves as well as for their family and things like that. So I'll pass it on to Fatima.
Hi, everyone. My name is Fatoumata Kane. I go by Fatima. I am from New York City, and I came from DC yesterday. I almost thought I wouldn't make it because my flight was delayed for 4 hours, but I'm glad I'm here. And I want to thank Dr. Rollins for inviting me because my coworkers are always studying at work. I got invited to this conference to present, this conference to present. So on Monday morning, I'm going to tell them I was here. So I know Sando now for 3 years. We started around the same time. So I'm a program analyst at the Center for the Study of Social Policy. We're based in DC, and we're a national nonprofit public policy organization. Our mission is that we want to adjust society where children, family, and youth can thrive. And the way in which we do our work is we do a lot of community engagement. Because we believe that there's a lot of policy orgs in DC, but they don't necessarily like work with communities. And you need to have community voice at the table, and they need to be a part of everything, not just like reviewing documents. They need to be a part of brainstorming and also execution. And specifically, the initiative that Sando and I are part of is called Youth Power, Parent Power. So I love hearing the parent power piece, but we're bringing the youth in it, And what we're focused on is that we want to improve outcomes for young parents or young people that's in foster care. And the reason why we focus on this population is because we realize that they have specific needs. And if they're not successfully transitioning out of foster care, then there's this intergenerational cycle. And also, how do you support a young person who's transitioned into adulthood and also parenthood at the same time? So in terms of the research aspect, so before Sando and I joined, our organization did research with Montclair State University with the funding from the NAACFRC Foundation. And this And this research team was composed of young people who have lived experience in foster care, also practitioners, funders, and nonprofit leaders. And what they were looking at was different data to see what supports do young parents need to thrive. They saw that, for example, there was like a correlation between
they looked more at young moms because unfortunately there's not as much data on fathers. So they looked at data on young moms from the ages of 19 to 21, and they saw that there were just a correlation that if they were like disconnected from school, employment opportunities, or if they didn't have stable foster care placement, or if they exited foster care early, that there were more chances of them becoming a parent younger. So we use that research to inform the work that we do. And Sando and I will be highlighting two examples from our work, current work that we are doing. So first starting with the Learning Action Network. So this is a community of practice that we launched a couple of years ago. It was for 1 year, and we worked with 3 jurisdictions. So we worked with Georgia, Nebraska, and California. And the goal there was to work with sites that support young parents in foster care, but helping them think about their work in a new way. So like more cross-sector collaboration, and also partnering with young parents who were at the time transitioning out of foster care or who already transitioned out to inform like how can they better support young parents. And I'll let Sando talk more about like his experience being a part of the core team that launched the community of practice.
All right, so I was actually a part of the core team that launched this community of practice. And I also had kind of like a dual role with the Learning Action Network. And as well, I was a member of the Georgia side of things here in Georgia. So the Georgia team has staff members across the Georgia Division of Family and Children Services and the Department of Health that all work with the young parents in foster care. So some of the examples of our work was early childhood service manager, data and systems person, adolescents, pregnancy prevention unit manager, independent living program manager, and more. There was also young parents who had lived experience here in Georgia. So we worked together to identify priority areas such as how to connect young people to employment opportunities and education opportunities, which is really, really important for young people coming out of foster care, because we're trying to be stable. And also we know that one of the greatest paths to some type of stability is education as well. So I was very passionate about that work, trying to find those opportunities for young people. And we had another component of the LAN that I really enjoyed was the Emerging Leader Development Program. So I was part of this. So young parents from Nebraska, California, and Georgia that were all part of this. We got to do peer learning. I took notes, y'all. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, you good.
Okay, yeah. So we got to connect with one another. So we also received professional trainings on like professional development and things like that. How to maneuver around corporate people and things like that. And then we also learned the importance of strategic storytelling, because I know that's one of the big things for young people, especially coming out of foster care. You deal with like a lot of traumatizing situations, so having to talk about those can bring back those feelings up in you. So understanding how to share your story to make it impactful enough, but not so that it affects you, which was a very important skill set that I needed to learn, because so a lot of things happened. So I didn't want to I wanted to be able to share my story without it affecting me in a way. And then so we also looked on how to find qualitative and quantitative data on issues that we're passionate about, how to connect with local politicians and government officials. And I also played a mentorship role, helping create content and also facilitate discussions with new young parents that are coming onto the Emerging Leader program.
Yeah, and so in addition to the Learning Action Network and then the Emerging Leaders Development Program that Sando described, we're planning this year to launch a podcast, and it's called Young and Autonomous, and it will be focused on sexual and reproductive rights and resources.
So the way that we landed on this is that just with the political climate, we asked our young parents, like, what are some things that they would like to work on this year? And they said that they think it's really important for young people to get access to like proper sex education, just so that they can make better informed decisions about like if they want to become a parent and when, learning and knowing where to get contraceptives and that sort of thing. And so what we did as staff people is like tell them to go out there online, and we gave them different resources to look at, told them to also look online. And when they came back to us, they were like, yeah, like as a young person, it's hard to find information that's accessible, that's like youth-friendly language. And so we asked them, okay, like, what do you want to do? So they were like, oh, we want to do a podcast. We want to like invite people to talk about different issues. And so we had to tell them like, okay, we also need to have a research component to this. So the young parents had hosted different focus groups, and Sando could talk a little bit about that.
All right, yeah, so as Fatima was mentioning, we did facilitate some focus group with young people where we got to learn about what was going well, what wasn't going well with accessing resources for sexual and reproductive health, and what was challenging about, getting those resources. The data also helped inform the podcast content that we are putting together. So these are some of the things that I am doing with the other parent leaders who are working to identify the audience. So the young people who don't, who are involved in foster care or adult supporters. So those are like our target audience that we're going towards. And then we have so those can be caregivers, teachers, social workers, medical professionals, counselors, etc. And then we also have the name of the podcast, which was Young and Autonomous. So we had to go through a whole process of trying to figure out name, and we got stuck on the process. They're like, we want young in it. So I'm kind of like I'm a whiz with like naming things. So I was like, what about Young and Autonomous? So that kind of stuck. So I really like that. But yeah, so the podcast is going to be Young and Autonomous, where we're going to be talking about these topics. But also attached to that too, we are going to be doing a component for the podcast that has the voices of young fathers, because that's one thing I really feel like, it's important that people should hear is, how young fathers feel about, what's happening, because we do have some say-so about a lot of these things too. I know for myself, like a lot of these resources that are out here, if I knew about them, like, when I first started, I would have been way better, way more stable, and had a lot more going on, present, in my child's life as I wanted to be, but those things were not. So that's what gave me that oomph to want to go out there and be able to make sure I find it and let other young men have it, so they can be successful with their children and rearing them. But also, yes, and then how can adults create spaces for young people to talk about sexual reproductive health and, kind of feel safe about doing so. And then learning about, your body and making informed choices. So those are going to be some of the topics that we're going to be talking about on the podcast. Yeah, and through that whole process of doing that, we also were identifying some people who were working in this field. So we picked people who worked as sex educators or nonprofit leaders who work on this topic area, and people with lived experience who have experience in this topic area. And we're able to get them to connect for this podcast. So please keep an eye out for that. Thank you.
Yes, and then before we close out the presentation, I think one part of our constituent engagement work that we want to highlight is that we really try not to make it transactional. So the way in which we do that is that we also focus on like professional and leadership development, but asking the parents like, what do they want to do? Because some of them may want to do like advocacy long-term or like social impact, but some of them, just because of their story in foster care don't mean that they want to do social impact. It could be other things that they want to do, like Sando is in the IT. Some of them are like, oh, I want to be an architect and those sort of things. So like, how do we, even though we're not a direct service provider agency, we're a public policy org, like how do we connect them to resources locally so that they're getting something out of it?
or even as a staff person, like there's been situations where I gotta get like a report out, or I gotta make sure this focus group happen. But I always have to make sure I tell my colleagues, okay, we can have a deadline for things, but we're working with people, and yes, some of them have lived experience, but some of them are living in the experience still. So we need to always make sure that we connect with them as human beings and see what's going on with them, build that relationship, build that rapport. And then, yeah, just making sure that they're getting something out of it. It's not for us to look good as an organization. This is real. This is people's real lives. So that's always something that I try to bring up at the table. Especially, I mean, I don't have lived experience in foster care, but I'm from Harlem, New York. So this is something I'm really passionate about. And sometimes I could be in a room with people that's not melanated like y'all. And I'm like, you know, sometimes I don't want to talk about the work as a science project, you know, like this is real life. So yeah, and if you want to learn more about our initiative, you can go to cssp.org and you'll go to Our Work Youth, and then you'll see Youth Power, Parent Power. And I hope that y'all listen to the podcast when it dropped this year.
Thank you again. Excellent job to our presenters. At this time, we will open things up for Q&A. We don't have a ton of time. We want to be respectful of the built-in break, but we will take questions. So make your way down. I can kick things off to our Head Start presenters, but this is open to anyone. We know that Head Start was founded under the premise that parents would be heavily involved. And so what advice would you give to non-Head Start child care centers around getting parents more involved and amplifying those voices? And this question is open to anyone.
We believe in building relationships with our parents. And as the other presenters say, giving them the say and making them a part of the family. So what we believe in is they take a part in even in our policies and building with our programs. So we tell them that they are, but when they come in, we not only enroll your child, we enroll you as a family. So we definitely believe in making them a part of the family and building that relationship with them. Yeah.
If I may add, so a lot of the training that I do with child care providers, that's a big part of my job is doing training with child care providers. And we really try to emphasize the fact that family engagement is that two-way street. It's not just you come to the school, what can you bring for us? What can you volunteer and do for us? But also what can the program do for the families, and being that resource. And I think with the pandemic, we learned very quickly that educational institutions are a very strong resource for families. And but I don't know that our child care programs always see themselves that way. And so really helping them to see that as this back and forth and this relationship, as you said.
Thank you. All right, awesome. We have our first question.
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Derek Collins. I'm with Gifted and Lit. We create early childhood education, workbooks, and curriculum for families and children. What are some of the biggest challenges that you have faced doing this work? This question is for everyone.
Well, one of the biggest challenges within Head Start's funding is definitely funding, and knowing that ever since the pandemic, also we have had a lot of cuts within our program, and knowing that we are a viable program and that we're here, but just obtaining funding, that is a big threat to us. Yes.
I would have to say for me, because I do the events where I'm out in the community, I would say a lot of times I go to events, like I said, baby showers, events where they're getting free stuff. And so sometimes the challenge for me, I usually, if they don't make their way around to the tables, I go out to them, because some families will come just for the stuff. And it's just like, hey, I got a lot of stuff for you. Come. So I like the fact when I go to events, you have to go through each table. For some of the baby showers I attend, you have to go to each table before you can get diapers or clothes. And so I would say for me, is just making sure that the parents are coming for the right reasons. You know, besides getting the free stuff, let's see what else I can get while I'm here.
And I would just like to piggyback off of what Dr. Thomas said, is definitely funding for Coastal Plain. When it comes to the funding, that also affects the staffing as well. So we have the shortage of staffing. And because of the shortage of staffing, we can't do what we need to do for the children that really need the service. So funding would definitely be a big thing in Coastal with Head Start.
And I think for us with our Family Peer Ambassador program, the biggest challenge that we have is getting the message out and recruiting. And recruiting fathers is a big one. And I kind of joke sometimes and say I need a marketing degree in addition to my education degree, because just figuring out how to reach the fathers and the other family members to bring them into our programs and help get their support.
I would probably say is for young people, especially when you get young people engaged in these type of work, it's keeping them engaged with this type of work, because it's all about, you know, how you authentically engage with young people so they feel, you know, that what they're doing has purpose, has meaning, and things like that, that they want to remain, you know, with the type of work. But just keeping young people engaged can be kind of challenging at times. Yeah.
Thank you. Such an important question that has huge policy implications.
Good morning. My name is Marion Grant Whitlock, and I am from one of the best HBCUs, Preventive College in Columbia, South Carolina. But I really I'm coming from Leesburg, Georgia, so Southwest Georgia. I understand that. One of my questions is, what can we as the community do to support your programs? And that's, I know it's like a big, small question, but it's still like a big question.
Well, we're big on advocacy, making sure that we get the word out. I heard a little bit about fathers, and I have to say we have the best father participation that we have. And the reason why we have the big father participation is we create a culture of fatherhood, and it starts from the top up. So even with the executive director, I advocate constantly for my fathers, and within all of our centers, we have active programs within our fathers, and we make sure that we get the message out to them. A lot of times it starts with the mothers, but we make sure that we create that culture to let them know that they have a voice also. So it was just the advocacy with us.
I would like to add to that forming partnerships. And so I keep a list, you know, like I mentioned, I showed all those different partners. That plays a big part in making sure that everything is getting done. And I actually talked to I've actually been getting a lot of fathers coming to my events. I was just talking about that before we came in here. A lot of teen fathers, and I pass Fathers Matters Atlanta. I pass it on to them. And so that's partnership. That's making sure that we, you know, when you have something, let me know. When I have something, and it works that way. And that's where that team, being in a team and making sure that the parents are getting what they need in the community, I think all that plays a part.
What I was going to say is kind of piggybacking off what you said about forming the partnerships, especially in the community. When you have an organization that mainly targets low-income families, that also has a specification for targeting African-American families, it can be tough to get that community support for funding and whatnot compared to our counterparts. So I feel like that would be something good, you know, to be able to just have that extra support from the community and funding, and, you know, just help to bridge that gap and kind of connect us with those other companies and whatnot that, like I said, do support the other counterparts, and that not necessarily the organizations that target African-American families.
And I want to add the legislative piece. making sure that you are voiced out into your legislation and that your legislation has a voice for you. So definitely adding that legislative piece in there, yes.
I agree with that. As a state employee, I can't advocate, but, talk to people, find out what are the issues that they're facing, and then speak to your representatives and let them know so that they hear us.
Yeah. Your parents are your
Yeah.
biggest advocates.
Yeah.
Parents are-
I can advocate, and I will say with gears, hi. One of the things that I pushed, some of the things were actually passed. Yeah, well, not, I can't say some. I actually targeted one thing, those 3 years I was with my daughter, and things did pass. So I'm happy. So yeah, pass it on to others.
For me, I would say, holding like programs accountable in your community and like they said, like political action. Cause I think sometimes like, it's not necessary, like everyone could get like busy with different things, work, parenting, school, and just realizing that, oh, like these programs owe you something. So hold them accountable. And also our tax dollars. So they take out a lot in our taxes. So that make sure you hold them accountable.
And I'm sorry, I had one more thing to think about, that is learn about the resources that are available and help get the word out about them, because we have a lot of resources for families in our state. But again, we're not marketers, we're teachers or whatever. And so getting that word out is often a real struggle for us. And so kind of learn about what they are and then help get that word out can be a big help.
Thank you. We will close out with this last question.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Joaquina Jones. I am with Equity for Health Consulting, but I have many years of state and federal programming experience. So thank you all for all that you do. I had a couple of questions and you touched on a couple of them. So I just kind of want to bring it back for real specific answers. What are your programs doing to intentionally increase father-parent participation? And in particular, young fathers. And then I want to follow up that question with how often do historically based programs collaborate with new age programs so that your initiatives can reach this new population? So we're talking about Lyndon B. Johnson programs, and then we're talking about podcasts over here. And so there, needs to be definite collaboration so that the word can get out, to your point, Bridget, about a lot of programs and resources. So I have those two questions, if you can kind of shed some light on those. Thank you.
So for the sake of time, I'm getting the signal. Let's just hear from one person, but I encourage you to keep the conversation going during the break.
Okay, well, we mentioned that we have an active fatherhood program. And of course, with that, we again create that culture from the top up, even in our governance, by providing, we have basically on our board, a board of directors who make our final decision, we have at least 8 men on that program. But that linkage with the younger group, what we do, we are constantly collaborating. So we're always out and we're always collaborating and we're always asking for feedback. We're having focus groups and also the activities that we have in our community also. So we're actually asking for people to come to the table and also for us to sit at the table also. Yes.
Thank you. So please continue to chat and talk. Thank you all so much for joining us.